The Lawrenceburg community says goodbye to a fallen state police trooper that meant a lot to this area.
1 week after a man was shot in a Lexington park, a group is coming together to remember their friend and work to gain support for his family.
She's running thousands of miles for some important causes. Now a woman's long journey has brought her to Kentucky.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We have multiple breaking stories we're tracking tonight. I'm Kristen Kennedy. Investigators say the second convicted killer who escaped from a New York prison is now in custody. Officers shot David Sweat this afternoon after confronting him about 2 miles from the Canadian border. He's now at a hospital, but his condition is not known. Investigators say they shot him twice and that no officers were injured. This comes 2 days after police shot and killed the other escapee, Richard Matt. The two men escaped from a prison in upstate New York 3 weeks ago. Now to a breaking story in Lexington, where crews went out to a fire late this afternoon on Interstate 75. Lexington police say an RV pulling a car had a mechanical issue and caught fire in the northbound lanes near mile marker 106. The driver of the RV managed to get it to the shoulder of the road. Firefighters put out the fire, but weren't able to save the RV. No one was injured. Police say all 3 northbound lanes are back open. Also breaking in Lexington tonight, firefighters evacuated employees and guests from a hotel off Newtown Pike. A front desk agent at Candlewood Suites tells us a carbon monoxide detector went off this afternoon. Fire crews responded. We're told they found traces of gas in the building and rushed everyone out of the hotel. Employees were waiting on representatives from Columbia Gas to arrive. They'll allow guests to go back into their rooms only after fire crews determine it's safe. They are saying goodbye to a fallen state trooper. Tonight, hundreds of people are at an Anderson County church for the visitation of Trooper Eric Chrisman. He died last week when a tractor trailer hit his police cruiser in western Kentucky. Trooper Chrisman graduated from the State Police Academy 6 months ago. WKYT's Sam Smith shows us how he's being remembered. He has our top story at 6.
The community here really came out today to pay their respects to Trooper Eric Chrisman. Before the service began, a line of people formed outside of the church that ran the length of the large parking lot here. Trooper Chrisman died June 23rd. He was working out of a state police post in western Kentucky at the time. Trooper Chrisman was responding to a reckless driving complaint. While investigating the complaint, his cruiser crossed into the opposite lane and into the path of a tractor trailer. The organization Supporting Heroes says his cruiser hydroplaned. Friends say Chrisman always wanted to be a police officer. He accomplished that dream in January of this year when he had graduated from the Kentucky State Police Academy. They say he was a kind, reliable man that loved to help others. He was active in his church and his school, Christian Academy of Lawrenceburg, and will be missed.
He just, he loved life. He poured himself into the stuff that he did, whether it was high school sports or whether it's being a trooper or, you know, just Eric just got up every day and enjoyed himself.
Visitation services continue here until 9 o'clock tonight. In Anderson County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Visitation continues tomorrow morning at Nineveh Christian Church beginning at 9. His funeral will take place at 11. After the funeral tomorrow, the procession will leave the church, then travel south on Highway 326 before heading down US 127 south through Lawrenceburg. Trooper Chrisman will be buried at Sand Spring Baptist Church Cemetery off US 127. More help is pouring in for the family of a man who died after someone shot him at a Lexington park. Kwame El-Amin was shot last Sunday at a basketball tournament at Douglas Park. Friends say his family needs help paying funeral expenses. So today, a group of people rode their motorcycles around the city to raise money. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has the story.
Today makes 1 week since 42-year-old Kwame El-Amin was shot here at Douglas Park. And this afternoon, a group came together here at the park to go throughout Lexington, remembering their friend and gaining support for his loved ones he leaves behind.
We understand it did happen, but it should not happen. not in a public park.
6 different bike clubs met at that park after chaos last week left their friend fighting for his life before dying a few days later.
There are shell casings everywhere. You can see where the police have made their marks and how many they numbered. So this young man or whomever shot this weapon didn't care for anybody's life.
Riding out to different intersections throughout Lexington, collecting donations.
Thank y'all very much.
And spreading a message.
Stop the violence.
A message they say El Amin himself worked to instill in the city's youth.
He was the first volunteer that we called when we were asking for vendors to help us with the Stop the Violence rally, and he brought his food truck out and he served the kids and things right there at the end of that stage. You know, that's who he was.
And nearly $7,000 has already been raised through a GoFundMe account set up for El Amin's family. For a link to that page, visit our website, WKYT.com. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
The bikers ended their ride at a memorial service for El Amin. At last check, Lexington police had not made any arrests in that shooting. Tonight, state police are calling the death of a Western Kentucky Amish man a murder. According to WHOP radio, police found 79-year-old Amos Yoder dead and his wife Marjorie badly injured in their Todd County home this morning. Police think someone attacked the couple during a home invasion. Marjorie Yoder is at a Nashville hospital, but her condition right now is unknown. Police have not made any arrests. One man faces many charges tonight after a high-speed police chase in Clay County. Manchester police arrested 20-year-old Ralph Hall Jr. last night. They first noticed him riding a dirt bike on Memorial Drive. When Hall saw them, police say he sped off. Officers tried to stop Hall, but say he drove through an apartment complex where several people were in the parking lot. They eventually boxed Hall in and arrested him. He's charged with fleeing or evading, wanton endangerment, and reckless driving, among other offenses. After days of heat, humidity, and storms, we are getting a good break this weekend. We're seeing great weather across the Bluegrass, but will it last? Mike Linden joins us with an early look at the work week forecast.
And that is the million-dollar question, Kristen. But right now, we just have to enjoy what we're dealing with. This is the silver lining in those would-be clouds. Temperature-wise, we are cooler than normal, but boy, it just feels great outside with the low humidity. Right now, most spots in the mid to high 70s. Jefferson County leading the pack at about 80 or so degrees. Western Kentucky spots also a little bit warmer than that. And this is what it looks like outside. Gorgeous, maybe the best weather of the year so far. Things have just been great today, but look what lurks off to the northwest. Active weather as yet another storm system gets set to dive into the Bluegrass. You can already see out ahead of that cold front there some thunderstorms beginning to pop, and that is going to be the focus of my forecast. This unsettled weather making a comeback in the Bluegrass. And it looks like it could stick around for the week ahead. I'll be back in about 10 minutes to show you what we can expect to find for the week ahead heading into the holiday weekend. Kristen?
Mike, thank you. If you're out on the road the next couple of weeks, you might come across a woman running on the shoulder pulling a wagon. She's put a lot of miles on those wheels, and she expects to add a lot more. WKYT's Sean Moody has the story behind her journey.
Kentucky's beauty is best seen from the back roads. Rosie Swale Pope is getting a good look.
I run at night under the moonlight. I listen to the first bird song in the morning.
This stretch of US 60 in Bath County is just a fragment of what's ahead for her.
The slow way round to the Grand Canyon and to Las Vegas. I'm going to end in San Francisco.
She's 68 years old and thousands of miles from her house in Wales, but home travels with her.
And it would seem rather small because it's easier to pull. So the first thing I did was stick pictures of all my family up here.
This is not Rosie's first run.
The last one was to turn sorrow around.
In 2003, she lost her husband to cancer. The grief drove her to begin running. 5 years and more than 20,000 miles later, she'd gone around the world.
When something bad happens in your life, you kind of find a way to turn it around.
This time she's running for cancer awareness and to raise awareness for veterans' needs. She's not taking donations. She just wants to inspire people to help where they can.
If people give me money, I nearly always give it back to them. I say, Please do it in honor of this stupid woman pulling the cart, but give it to your church.
And she's certainly gotten some attention around here.
We saw you yesterday afternoon pulling the hill coming into town.
It was a big hill. That'll mean it's nice going downhill the other end.
She's got thousands of miles ahead and lots of people left to meet and inspire.
You don't have to think of yourself as special to do amazing things.
In Bath County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Rosie expects her journey to take her about 6 months. What a strange scene in Warren County. The sheriff's office says a man hit one of their deputies. The Warren County Sheriff's Office found 32-year-old Franklin Mendez behind a home after getting a report about a suspicious man. They say Mendez had a self-inflicted injury. Deputies called for an ambulance, and while waiting, they say Mendez hit a sheriff's deputy and tried to take his gun. Deputies used a taser on Mendez, but they say he ran off. They later arrested him. Mendez is now at a hospital in critical condition. He's charged with assault and trying to disarm an officer. We're tracking a crime alert in Lexington tonight. Police say 3 men robbed 3 teenagers outside the victims' homes. This all happened just before 3 this morning at an apartment complex on Codell Drive. Police say the robbers walked up to the teens and one of them pulled out a gun. The robbers, officers say, stole money and a cell phone, then jumped in a car and drove off. At last check, police hadn't made any arrests. NASA leaders are calling today a tough one. An unmanned SpaceX rocket broke apart this morning after launch. The rocket was headed for the International Space Station, but a couple of minutes after launching from Cape Canaveral, Florida, the rocket broke up over the Atlantic Ocean. NASA isn't sure what caused it. The rocket was carrying supplies for the space station.